there's no place like home for the holidays. And no matter how far away you roam, if you pine for the sunshine of a friendly gaze, for the holidays you can.
Welcome back to Horror for the Holidays, a Christmas horror movie podcast. I'm Jay Logsdon.
And I'm Joe Searcy.
Or as some people call you, Big Moose.
That wasn't supposed to get out.
So Jeff, it's been a little while.
It has.
Is anything you want to talk about before we start talking about the movie today?
No, not really. I just want to say how much I love Jack Frost as a movie. You know, it's one of those timeless family classics.
Okay.
That you can just, sit down, especially with young children. It's a tale about love and loss, not to take your work too seriously over your family.
Wait, what?
And, the snowman effects are pretty good. Some people find the plot contrivance of the magical harmonica, to be kind of rote.
I don't think...
And, honestly, did you know that 3 of Frank Zappa's kids are in this movie? I couldn't believe that when I read that on the facts.
Jeff, I think...
Charlie, when he's depressed over his dad's death, you really feel for him. And, when he plays the magic song and the harmonica that brings... And, I mean, come on, Michael Keaton, this has got to be one of his best performances, is the magical snowman.
Hey, buddy, I
mean, if you're just going to return to the afterlife when you melt, I mean, couldn't anybody be made into one of these disgusting snowman avatars?
I don't know how to break this to you, man. I think you watched the wrong Jack Frost movie.
What do you mean? The memo in the group chat said watch Jack Frost. I watched 1998's Jack Frost with Michael Keaton.
Oh, no. You were supposed to watch 1997's Jack Frost.
Oh, shit.
Revenge of the Killer Mutant Snowman?
Revenge? Isn't that the first movie?
I think so. Maybe it's maybe it's just Jack Frost, the Killer Mutant Snowman. So let's deck the halls for
Well,
this
I've
movie.
wasted a lot of time.
And we'll set the scene and lay out stuff for 1997's Jack Frost. On the subject of what Jeff was talking about beforehand, I've heard a lot of stories of people who used to work at like video stores, video retailers, and they would swap the 2 Jack Frost movies in the VHS tapes. So like parents would take home the wrong Jack Frost movie. I've heard that story a lot.
It's a pre-internet meme.
Speaking of video stores, this movie had a very interesting cover. This cover has stuck with me my whole life. I remember going to the video store at and walking through the horror movie section and seeing the lenticular Jack Frost cover where it's like a snowman, and then as you walk by it turns into like a monster, the monster snowman. Like that image has stuck with me like my whole life.
No, I do remember it when I used to troll through Hollywood Video looking for Godzilla movies.
Mm-hmm. Also, currently you can get this movie. You can watch it on Tubi, and you can buy it on Blu-ray through the MVD Rewind collection. That's where we got our Blu-ray copy.
Very nice, by the way.
The budget, I couldn't find an exact figure.
Yeah, I was only able to find like rough estimates.
But I found a story where Michael Cooney, the director, he also wrote Identity, the John Cusack movie. And he's like that movie had like a $30,000 budget or something like that.
Oh, yeah. I think I remember the thing you're saying. Yeah, he's like, yeah, Identity had a $30 million budget, and we made Jack Frost for the catering budget of that movie.
And I thought that was a great line. But as I said, Michael Cooney, director, Scott McDonald, character actor. You said you'd seen him in a lot of Star Trek.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
He is the titular Jack Frost, and Christopher Allport is Sheriff Sam Tyler. We will see all 3 of these names on Jack Frost 2, and sadly not on Jack Frost 3 because it never got made.
Oh, it will get made.
I would love for it to get made. Do you have anything else?
Well, I was gonna ask. I know you mentioned when we were watching it. Do you know anything about this horrible child actor plays the son.
The kid that
of the
plays
sheriff.
Ryan. No, I know nothing about him.
I'd say I was like able to find like nothing about him. Was he just not an actor? Was he just somebody they like knew someone on the cast or crew?
I don't. I couldn't find anything about him. I could barely find anything about the actress who played Anne, Sheriff Tyler's wife.
It's like, for as popular as this movie is, it's kind of like a mystery in a lot of the details.
The third biggest actor is is her name Jill? The girl. Mm-hmm. She is Nadia in the first American Pie.
Ah, okay.
So that is, that is the third biggest name in this movie, or potentially that is the biggest name in this movie, depending on what you watch.
Oh, I made a note when I was reading through some interviews about it. Michael Cooney said that he was only the director for this film because they couldn't afford a real director.
Yep, which he did a really good job.
If he's no director experience, he did a really good job.
No, we'll get into it. Let's just get into our synopsis. Start talking about the movie. We start with a voiceover of Uncle Henry telling his niece the story of Jack Frost. Both of the voices are provided by Michael Cooney. But
oh really? I couldn't tell.
But she's like, oh, I want to hear a Christmas story. He's like, do you want a happy Christmas story or a scary Christmas story? She's like, I want a scary, happy Christmas story. Oh well, how about the story of Jack Frost? You know the story like Jack Frost nipping at your nose, except he did that for real.
Where?
And he's just scaring his little niece, and it's showing different images on a Christmas tree with all the credits on it. Uncle Henry's telling the story. He's like, oh, and he should be being sent to the electric chair right now.
Yeah.
And we get a scene of prison transport taking Jack to his midnight execution.
Two of the most absolute flatfoots you've ever seen driving this truck.
They're both in the truck. They're both like looking out the same part of the window. One of them's wiping it off as the other one's driving. And the whole time, like an instrumental version of Over the River and Through the Woods to Grandmother's House We Go plays in the background.
I mean, it's great.
Jack asks the police officer in the back with him for a smoke.
Yeah.
And then like kills the guy and takes the cigarette from him.
Oh, don't forget the two flatfoots in the front seat are like, is everything going okay back there? Are you okay?
Yeah, everything's fine.
Yes.
Just fine.
You can totally tell it's not the guy.
Yeah. And they're just like, oh, okay. You thought it's okay.
Yeah. It's fine.
As they cross into Snowmonton County.
Oh, man.
The snowman capital of the world.
What a great distinction to have for your town.
One of the guards reminisces to the other about how the Sheriff Sam Tyler just kind of lucked into catching Jack Frost after his 38-person 11-state killing spree.
Yes. What do they say? They're like, oh, he just happens to come in and play the hero at the end of the FBI investigation.
Yep. In the middle of this blizzard where the prison transport's going through, also GCC Chemical Company is transporting a truck transporting chemicals in the opposite direction, genetic material in the opposite direction.
Yeah, it's a real chocolate in your peanut butter situation.
Yep, they crash into each other. And there's a scene where like all the cars are spinning. Oh, right before they crash in, like one police officer goes, "What?" The other one goes, "The," and then the guy in the genetic truck goes, "Fuck!" And then we get a slow motion scene of like the bumpers touching each other. There's a ding. It just goes ding. And then we see like them spinning out of control.
It's great.
They're screaming and Jack Frost is just in the back of the truck, just a smile on his face.
It's like, oh yeah, this is what I wanted, to die in a car crash. Because obviously he has no way of knowing what's going to happen.
Jack thinks he's escaped. And he's standing there taunting. I think earlier on, one of the police officers driving the truck said like "deep fried Jack," and he like looks at the police officer, the one that survived, and he's like, "There won't be any deep fried Jack tonight." As the chemical truck explodes and sprays him with like acidic genetic material,
some kind of genetic material that melts him down to bones over like 5 seconds.
Yeah, he completely melts down, and then we see like his blood cells being turned into like icicle, like crystalline frost patterns.
You remember that scene? I believe Sam Raimi ripped this off for his Spider-Man scene, where after the spider bites Peter and you see the little genetic code being rewritten. He totally watched this and ripped it off.
I mean, honestly, I wouldn't have put it past Sam Raimi. He knows a good movie when he sees one.
It's true.
We kind of see the snow kind of start to move, and we hear Jack yelling. As that's going on, Sheriff Sam Tyler, his wife Anne, and their son Ryan are driving back from a ski trip over the weekend.
Can't
Sam
stop having flashbacks.
Yep, Sam is having flashbacks about Jack Frost, but he sees the clock strike midnight and is sure that Jack is dead. And and as they're like driving by, they see the crashed prison transport truck. Man, that is a mouthful.
That's a mouthful.
I don't think I will have to say prison transport truck again. So hopefully I won't stumble over my words again, at least for that.
What were they bringing Jack to his execution in?
A paddy wagon.
How racist.
Sam, so like he sees this accident and asks if there's anything he can do to help. He's the local sheriff, and they just say, "Oh, it's a federal matter. Move along."
Yeah.
So the next morning, Sam is getting ready to go back to work, and he is stopped by Ryan, who made him special.
I've got you some special.
Daddy, I made special.
I bet you did, boy.
Which appears to be oatmeal, chocolate chips, and marshmallows mixed together.
And dog shit.
And Sam has Ryan put it in a baggie for him. He's like, "Oh, I'll take it for lunch. It'll be extra special."
But you don't know why it's special. It does have a special ingredient.
Yeah. We then see downtown Snowminton, where they are getting ready for the yearly Snowman Festival on Christmas Eve. And every image of Snowminton, there's snow on the ground in the foreground, but in the background, there's no snow on the trees or on any landscape in the background because they filmed this in the height of summer.
It's very clearly summer in this movie.
Also, for the handful of scenes during the day, the sun is very high in the sky.
Yeah. You know, like it is in the dead of winter.
We are introduced to some of the locals, Jill, Tommy, Jake, Sally, and Paul, the hardware store owner. At one point, Sally expresses that when she was a little girl, she always wanted to be the angel on top of the Christmas tree.
And then her husband's like, "Shut up, you old bat."
Sam then arrives at the Snowminton police station, where Marla, the secretary, informs him that Old Man Harper has died.
Oh, boy.
We see Old Man Harper's corpse, which is like a frozen, desiccated skeleton with its hair blown back. It's all blue and white and frozen over, and its neck appears to be snapped.
You forgot the most important thing. There's a young delinquent outside making a snow woman.
Oh, yeah.
And he does the joke that's going to be an amazing callback later on in
Multiple
the movie.
times. Hey, Jeff, what's the difference between a snowman and a snow woman?
What?
Snowballs.
Hilarious.
Sam calls the FBI. Agent Manners assures Sam that Jack Frost died in the accident the night before. Off the phone, Agent Manners and Agent Stone discuss that whatever sprayed Jack Frost.
Yeah, I think Stone is like, "Oh man, this is a disaster." And Manners is like, "Oh, I wouldn't really call it a disaster. You know, we know it works. I mean, it's a shame it had to be on a psychopath like Jack Frost."
Yeah, there we go. And they are going to put him back in a test tube, or they're going to bring him back in a test tube, I think is the line.
Trying to get him back into containment.
Anne arrives home to find an unfinished snowman in their front yard. Ryan insists that he didn't make it. Meanwhile, Sam reassures the townsfolk that the killer is 100 miles away by now. Where have we heard that before?
He's at least 100 miles away by now.
Back at home, while Ryan is decorating the snowman.
Oh, wait. Gotta point this out. He needs a picture of a snowman to decorate the snowman.
Yeah, he brought like a little glove, like a little snowman hand puppet to make sure he's putting all the parts in the right spot.
I think he's been eating a little too much special.
While he's decorating the snowman, Billy and a couple other kids show up and they threaten to beat up Ryan. One of the kids goes to go sledding, and it's one of those old-timey sleds with like the rails, the steel rails.
Kind of like on the bottom of ice skates.
Yep. And the snowman arm hits up and launches Billy into its path, where Billy gets decapitated by the sled blade.
It's an amazing scene.
It's very cool. Also, we'll see something like it when we get to Silent Night, Deadly Night, which I think that scene is kind of a callback to Silent Night, Deadly Night.
This is the first time Ryan's like, "It was the snowman."
Yeah, Ryan insists that the snowman did it, while Jake and Sally mourn their son's death, and their daughter, Jill, is going to sneak out that night to meet Tommy.
Can't trust that Tommy.
Jake goes outside to get some firewood, and he sees the same snowman in his front yard. Someone we don't see asks Jake for a smoke and kind of starts taunting him. Jake grabs his axe and is kind of looking around. He turns around and I think faces the snowman, has the axe ripped out of his hand and then shoved down his throat.
Yep.
And we hear a voice say, "Gosh, I only axed you for a smoke."
Yes.
Inside, someone turns on the Christmas lights in the house, and Sally, in a very cool scene, Sally finds she sits down in a chair, and we see the snowman sitting behind her, or standing behind her in the chair. She then kind of goes to investigate who turned on the lights on the Christmas tree.
And then they go off again, yeah.
They go off again, and then the snowman is directly behind her. We see her get strangled with Christmas lights, get a ornament shoved into her mouth, and then her face bashed into a box of ornaments.
Those old glass ornaments.
Yeah, before she is strung up on the tree, and they put the star on top of the tree on top of her head.
I just gotta say, I know we're not at that part yet, but this is probably one of the most Christmassy kills we've seen in any movie so far.
On my note, I put best kill of the movie.
I would agree.
Paul, the hardware store owner, walks in, sees the snowman having killed Sally, and Sally strung up like an angel on top of a Christmas tree, just like she always wanted.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure she wanted it that way, too.
And Paul runs out the front door. Back at the police station, Sam asks Marla, the secretary, to get FBI agent Manners on the phone in a line that's something like, "Get that asshole Manners on the phone." Yeah. "Who's this?"
I'm that asshole.
And Manners and Stone are there. Manners informs Sam that a task force will be there at midnight to help.
Yes, you got to put a curfew on this town, man.
Sam has the town placed under a curfew and is having people bunker down at the local church. Paul, who saw the mutant killer snowman, is outside attacking the snowmen at the Snowman Festival.
It was the snowman, man!
Sam sends one of the town deputies, Chris Pullman, who is sent up to see what spooked Paul. He sees the snowman standing in the middle of the street holding a stop sign. When he gets out of his cruiser and grabs a shovel to knock it over, the snowman is gone, and then we hear like the kind of the moving snow sound that we hear throughout the movie, and the snowman reforms inside of the police cruiser and backs over Deputy Chris.
It's another great scene.
Jill and Tommy sneak into the sheriff's house while everyone's on lockdown, and they get ready to fuck.
And not only do they do that, they also steal his wine.
Yeah, we get a very funny scene of them getting undressed, and they just keep removing layers of clothes.
It's amazing.
Tommy is attacked by Jack Frost, or by the killer snowman. We don't know it's Jack Frost yet. I mean, it's heavily implied.
Yeah.
But
he gets killed with icicles.
And, yeah, he gets one icicle launched through his shoulder, pinning him to the door, and then another icicle launched through his head. Yep. Jill finds a bath ready for her, thinking that Tommy drew it. While she's bathing, she finds a carrot in the tub, and then the water suddenly gets cold, and the snow forms around her, trapping her inside. It's heavily implied that Jack Frost rapes her, but there is a very dumb moment in it where her arm's like waving like she's calling for help, and a guy walks by and just waves in the window.
Yes, he's waving at her like she's waving out the window.
Apparently that guy is in multiple scenes. I think in the credits they refer to him as like the fool or something like that. Mm-hmm. There's one other great scene he has a little later on. I'll make sure to call it out. Back at the police station, they learn that a blizzard has moved in and has stopped backup from arriving. Apparently, Snowminton is in the middle of like a bowl, and it's like 20 miles uphill in every direction.
This is where Stone accidentally outs himself too as a genetic research agent, and then he's gonna reveal something about Manners, but then Manners is like, "Shut up, you moron."
Chris's car pulls up, but is empty. The snowman appears behind Marla. Agent Manners confirms to Sam that it is Jack Frost. Mm-hmm. While they're kind of being chased around the police station, Sam grabs Marla's hairdryer that she was using earlier in the movie, grabs it off her desk and points it at Jack, and we discover that the heat from the hairdryer has some kind of effect on Jack Frost.
It seems to weaken his ability to maintain his snow form.
Yep, starts to push him back, but then in a very silly scene as he keeps moving forward,
the cord runs out.
Yep, it unplugs, and Sam has to run off. They find some cleaning supplies, some aerosol supplies, and they're going to fill up the police station with aerosol and blow it up.
Oh, I think this is the part where Stone reveals that this project was like to preserve the human soul, which is apparently a chemical compound. Yeah. In like the event of a nuclear apocalypse or whatever.
Yeah, they reveal that. They fill up the whole like prison block or jail cell block with with this aerosol spray, and Jack is like leaking in water for him to like get into the room. And Sam has to run back and grab the keys. And then as he's running by, Paul, who's the hardware store guy who like everyone kind of got mad at because he was acting crazy.
Yeah.
He's like, Sam, you gotta let me out. So they get out. They're able to get the window open. They all get out, slam the window shut. Jack is banging on the window. Manners like fires his gun inside and blows up the police station.
Oh yeah. A quick note on Manners' gun. Stone's like, oh, conventional weapons will have no effect on him. And he shoots Jack, and Chick's like, ah, fuck.
Yeah.
And Manners is like, it seems to have an effect.
As the after the police station blows up, we start to hear the sound, the snow moving sound again.
Yep.
And Jack appears, and everyone kind of like cocks their head sideways
Can't get rid of him that easy.
And Jack reformed all wrong. His head is where his arm should be, and he's like, "Look, Ma, I'm a Picasso." And that fool character we talked about earlier, we see him leave like the church that the lockdown is happening in. We see him leave carrying a stick with marshmallows on top. One assumes to go roast marshmallows on the embers of the police station.
Yeah.
They all kind of like lock down in the church. They get a bunch of hair dryers ready, and they're able to force Jack like bursts in as a giant snowball like through the front door, but everyone has hair dryers,
yeah.
and they're able to force Jack into the furnace and close the door. Everyone kind of celebrates, thinking, we got rid of him, blah blah blah. Manners and Stone kind of lament the loss of the experiment. But Jack reforms.
Yes, he's able to like recondense himself from the vapors of the furnace.
Yep, and we get this awesome scene where like he's got these huge icicle teeth, and he like bites off Manners' face, or like chews through it, like he's got like all these bloody lines on his face. Stone, he says he's gonna do something to Stone. I don't remember what the exact line is, but then we see Stone walking out of the church, and he's like all white and pale, and he's like kind of acting like the cockroach man in Men in Black.
Yeah.
And then you kind of hear Jack's voice. It's like, fuck it. And he gets like this giant, Cronenberg would love this. He gets like a giant frog.
Yeah, like a bullfrog pouch under his throat.
Yep, and then spews out a bunch of snow on the ground.
Yeah, basically, Jack killed him by freezing him from the inside. It seems like it's
and
kind of just working him like a puppet.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very cool effect. Jack then attacks Sam and Ryan inside the police car. Yeah. He's able to get Ryan out. And Sam is kind of fighting with Jack. He's just grabbing for whatever he can, and he grabs Ryan's bag of special.
He throws the special at Jack's head.
Throws it onto Jack, and it actually like has an effect on Jack.
Like, burns him horribly.
Yeah, and we see like actual blood on the snow, and he's all melted and like disfigured. And it turns out that Ryan had put antifreeze in the special because he didn't want his dad to get cold.
That's what makes it so special. Give me some of that special. I'm cold.
Oh man, he's just trying to kill his dad every day. Jack then kind of comes out to attack Sam and Ryan, and Paul pulls up in his pickup truck and hits Jack again, and Jack goes flying, and I think he says something like, "I can see your house from here."
Yes, he does.
Jack informs Paul he's like kind of what the plan is, so they're gonna get a bunch of. He tells him to fill up the truck bed with antifreeze, and then Sam lures Jack into like an apartment complex, and there's a
close quarter brawl, and Jack drives like an icicle through his chest.
We get like a great scene where like Sam's kind of running through trying to find like an open door, as Jack's like melting down to try and get inside, and I probably like the most tense, the most horror heavy part of the movie.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a little late in the movie where it kind of feels like it drags down, but it's certainly the most like horror heavy portion of the movie.
I mean, it honestly, from the tone that the rest of the movie said, it feels kind of out of place at this point, but I mean, it does work as like a horror chase scene.
But yeah, Jack drives like an icicle into Sam's chest, and Sam's able to push Jack out through a window right into the bed of the truck that's full of antifreeze. Yeah. And he kind of wrestles, and Jack melts into the antifreeze. And then stupid Ryan goes up and he's like, "Oh, Dad, I think he's dead, but you missed a piece." And it's Jack's arm, and Jack's arm starts strangling Ryan. And then they have to pick up Ryan and dunk him in the antifreeze too, and melt Jack away. And then we get a scene where they're kind of like filtering the antifreeze back into the bottles and burying it in the ground. The closing music starts to hit as we hear Jack like laughing, and the bottles of antifreeze start to bubble up in their grave under the ground, and that's the end of the movie.
Well, and I mean, I don't understand why they thought that would work, because Stone basically said once you've undergone this process, you can't be destroyed. And it's like, yeah, it'll keep him from reforming for a long time, but I mean, antifreeze degrades, so what do you think's going to happen?
But, Sam would be dead by then. I guess that's the plan. So let's kind of get into our minutia section. Just things we want to pick out, things we want to talk about. Any category you want to start with, Jeff?
Why don't we do the sets first this time?
So Christmas sweater, favorite outfits, favorite scenes, favorite, or kind of like set decoration, favorite effects, anything like that.
I just wanted to say, for them filming this in California at the height of summer, they did a decent job making it seem Christmassy.
No, it looks very Christmassy.
I know it was filmed, most of it was filmed at a place called Big Bear Lake.
Okay.
Which I looked at pictures of in the actual winter, and it does get snow every once in a while.
I listening to a bunch of podcasts based in California. I've heard of Big Bear. I've never been, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, it looked nice.
I thought Sam's scarf, he wears like a red and black plaid scarf. I think that looks really good.
Yeah.
I want a scarf like that. That's what I'm saying. So if someone wants to get me one, let me know. I'll send you my address.
Agent Manners, I liked his costume was pretty much what you would expect from like a 90s Fed.
No, Agent Manners has a really good look. The Jack Frost effects are really cool. I especially like the scene where he's got the icicle teeth. And and as we said a little earlier, I like the scene where Stone gets filled with snow.
Yes, that was a good effect.
And it looks really cool. And also the dead body on Old Man whatever.
Oh yeah, was Old Man something or other.
The guy that was
Old Man Harper.
Yeah, the Old Man Harper who one of the deputies always used to steal apples from.
Yeah, let's go get some apples right after they declare him dead.
Yeah, I had some cool outfits, some really cool effects.
The Jack Frost effect was good, except usually when it was in motion, that looked pretty awkward. But the way that they shot it made sure that you hardly ever saw that part, so they did a pretty good job.
No, they do a good job of masking the moving of the snowman.
Like you hear the sound of him moving off screen a lot more than you actually see him moving, and he does the classic horror appear behind whoever he's going to kill, move, or I mean, honestly, that scene at the beginning with Jake, after he kills his son and he's out there going to kill him with the axe, having the snowman just be like stationary and taunting him with a disembodied voice, I thought was really good.
No, that's a good scene. That's probably the most other horror heavy scene in the movie, I think. Like other than like some of the body horror and just like the general fact that it's a monster.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are all really good. There was one other thing that I'll call it out again. The character, like we said in the credits, that's called like the Fool. He's like a guy in like a winter jacket and an orange winter cap.
Yeah.
And you just see this guy in the background in all these different scenes.
He's great.
And apparently he's in quite a few. Those were the two scenes that I noticed him. But I've rewatched this movie. I think this is my fourth or fifth watch through. And I never noticed him, I think, until the last watch through.
At the beginning, when he's at the sheriff's station, everybody's outside doing the snowman festival or whatever it is they're doing. I think you can see him off in the corner repeatedly dropping whatever food he's got on the ground and picking it up again.
That's hilarious. I'll have to go back and look for that. Do you want to do, since we kind of touched on it, do we want to do Christmas Spirit? How Christmassy is the movie? How Christmassy are the kills?
That seems like a good one to segue into.
So I thought the movie's very Christmassy. They've got Christmas decorations in just about every scene. They try their best to mask to show that there's snow on the ground, that there is snow in places. So they do a really good job with those things, especially on the tight budget that they supposedly had.
Oh yeah, no, I'm guessing. Well, I'm assuming it's not as low as the actual catering budget of that movie. But I'm guessing this was probably made for like either high 100,000s or low, like maybe 1.5 million.
Yeah, not very much, but they made it work. They do a
lot with it.
Yeah. The kills. I mean, we get the sled kill. That's pretty Christmassy. As I've always said, I think to me something about an axe kill feels Christmassy, but that Christmas tree, the wrapping, the
lights,
the lights,
face full of ornaments, yeah,
and putting the the star on top of the head and string her up onto the tree. And I think there's a line, are we going to leave her up till the 12 days of Christmas?
Yeah. No, I honestly, at the time I thought this is probably the most Christmassy kill we've seen so far.
I think it is. I think hands down the most Christmassy kill we've had. But yeah, they do a good job of masking that it's, that it's California in the summertime. Cause it does look really Christmassy, and in just about every scene, there's Christmas stuff everywhere.
Mm-hmm. No, whoever did the set decorations obviously really cared about making it look good, and like even the background shots, which I know they couldn't do a lot with because it's the height of summer, so things aren't going to look like winter. But I mean, honestly, shooting it in California, it's never really going to look like winter unless you're like way up in Northern California.
Do we want to do Broken Bulk? Blah 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 blah.
Broken Bold, Brilliant Bold.
That one, yeah.
Yeah, that segment.
Favorite. One thing that you think they could need a little help on, and one thing that you want to shout out in the movie.
Yeah, I'll go. You want to go first or me?
Sure, I'll do. So we'll start with Broken Bulb. My Broken Bulb is kind of what we've already said, just that it's California in the summertime. In the background, all the trees you see in the background, all are green. You see green grass.
Yeah.
There's no snow anywhere in the background. There's just snow in the foreground. It's kind of like, I think, Batman: The Dark Knight Rises, where like the city looks like New York from far away and Pittsburgh up close, or something like that. But yeah, that's probably the one thing that I disliked most about the movie. Was just that they, and that's not their fault that they're filming in California. I'm sure they have to film where they have to film.
My Broken Bulb was maybe have the tone be a little more consistent throughout the movie, because they seem to do like a horror comedy type thing for most of the movie, and then suddenly at the end they kind of veer towards more like actual horror. And then earlier on, like the kill with Jake and his wife, that's more like actual horror, versus like some of the other, like the kid getting his head cut off by the sled and stuff like that. That's just like straight comedic stuff.
No, yeah, the tone is a bit uneven.
It's just like, if they could just, honestly, they could still do both. I would just like it to be, have the accidental kills like be when Jack is pretending to be like a regular snowman. Have those be the comedic kills, and when he's in his like killer snowman form, have those be the horror kills.
Brilliant Bulb, what's your favorite thing? One thing you want to shout out?
My favorite thing overall were just Jack Frost's one-liners when he kills these people, because I'm a sucker for a good pun, and he's got some great ones in this movie.
No, he really does. That was also going to be mine. Michael Cooney's writing, and especially the dialogue, is just, as after all the kills, like the one, I just axed you for a smoke.
Yes.
Like, he's got all sorts of those, and Jack just is very quippy. It is very fun.
And my secondary favorite, real quick, was the special. Ryan in the special, and the fact that his dad keeps trying to get rid of it through the entire movie, and then he feels bad, so he keeps it, and then eventually it ends up saving their lives.
Where if he had eaten it, it would have killed him, and then nothing would have been able to stop Jack.
It's Chekhov's oat mixture.
So our last kind of these subcategories before we get into our final ranking is Christmas carols. What's your notable quotes?
Oh boy, there were honestly,
notable quotables.
I say rewatching this, so many, but I'll try to limit it to a couple. So, at the beginning on the phone call between the sheriff and Manners, when the phone call's over, the sheriff hangs up and he's like, "It's all over," and it flashes back, cut to Manners, and he's like, "It's starting."
At the very beginning in that scene where Uncle Henry's talking to his niece, we get a line where it's like, Jack was nimble, Jack was quick, Jack gouged out eyes with candlesticks.
That was good. Oh. At the end, when he throws the oatmeal bag in Jack's face and he starts to melt, he's like, "The oatmeal's making him burn. What did you put in those oats?" And his son's like, "Sorry." He's like, "No, it's a good thing that you did it." And he's like, "I didn't want you to get cold. What'd you put in the oats?" "Antifreeze."
When Sam and Ryan and Anne drive past the wreckage of the prison transport truck, Sam's like, 2 squad cars, an ambulance, and Ryan pops out of the back and he's like, and a partridge in a pear tree.
Yes. Look, Mom, a Picasso.
Look-
I've been remembering that for the past week.
Before Billy gets his head cut off with the sled, Billy says to Ryan, are you deaf as well as butt ugly?
Yeah.
And then after he gets decapitated, you hear a random bully in the background go, holy moly, Ryan killed Billy.
Yeah. When Jack's like, the world's most pissed off snow cone.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The boy answers the door at the sheriff's house after, when he's getting ready to go upstairs, and he answers, he's like, who is it? He's like, the world's most pissed off snow cone.
Yeah.
When Deputy Chris Pullman goes up to investigate Jack Frost, we hear to the tune of Deck the Halls, he's like, get the madman, be a hero.
Oh, I got another one from Deputy Pullman, the one you mentioned earlier. And he's like, you don't reckon we should leave her up for the 12 days of Christmas, do you? And it's like, you thought, honestly, if you thought the 2 flat-foot drivers at the beginning were bad, you should see the sheriff's deputies through this movie. My God.
I think the best quote is, and probably the thing that I'll probably keep quoting until I forget about the line, and then I'll laugh the next time I watch this movie. Hey, Jeff, what's the difference between snowmen and snow women?
What?
Snowballs.
I got one more deputy quote I had to throw in there at the end. What the hell's eating him? Other one. I bet you it ain't his girlfriend.
Oh, man.
No gold medal blowjobs for this guy.
Oh, man, that movie was like 2 episodes ago, and we're still talking about it. That's how good Once Upon a Time at Christmas is.
4 birds.
And anytime I hear 12 Days of Christmas on the radio, I'll just randomly be like, all 3 Frenchins? 3 of them.
Mother, daughter, and dog?
So let's get into our final rating. We rate these movies on one of 3 categories. Is it ho 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 hilarious? Is it seasonally scary? Or is it you will be sorry? Jeff, why don't you kick us off?
Oh, you know what it's going to be for me. This one has got to be ho 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 hilarious. It is not scary at all, but it is amazingly Christmassy, and it's hilarious to watch.
Absolutely. This movie is ho 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 hilarious. This is probably up there as one of the most deserving ho 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 hilariouses that we're gonna give out. I would put this in its sequel, and maybe the other one I can think of off the top of my head, Santa's Sleigh.
Yes.
With Bill Goldberg. Those are the 3 most ho 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 hilarious movies that I think we're gonna get. And this movie is well deserving of the title. It's stupid. It's funny. All the one-liners Jack has are great. The plot is contrived and dumb, but it's really, really funny.
We'll give this movie its own rating, the special.
We won't, but it's ho 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 hilarious. We only rate these movies on one of 3 categories.
The special. Oh, well, we got to add Jack to the naughty list.
Yeah, we've got to put Jack on the naughty list, where we take the villains of our movies and put them rank them on the naughty list. Where would you put Jack?
I mean, he's got to be close to the top. He's basically invincible. He's a psychotic killer. I mean, he's got numerous ways to kill you. He could fire icicles. He could reform from pretty much anything. Like we saw with Stone, he could puppeteer your corpse as like a suit for himself.
I was gonna probably put him above Killer Mr. and Mrs. Claus from Once Upon a Time at Christmas, and then below the alien invasion from Black Friday.
Yeah, he's not quite apocalypse level, at least in this movie. I haven't seen the sequel. But yeah, I would say he's definitely better than any of the groups or individual killers that we've had so far.
Mm-hmm. No, before the movie starts, he has 38 kills to his name, and he kills.
And that was without his powers.
Yep, and he kills about 6, 7, 8 people over the course of this movie.
At least
2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Roughly,
and
people.
Those are just the people that we see.
Right.
He could have been killing a lot more.
Yeah, he's got a really high kill count, and like you said, nigh on invincible. Yep. And then every episode we go and we clean out our email inbox, and segment we like to call
Garbage Day. Huh? No.
This week, for our Garbage Day segment, we have a email from Peter.
one of our lazy fans finally write in.
Yeah, trying to keep us alive and keep us from eating junk food. Hey, Horror for the Holidays crew. Are there any Christmas traditions you have, things you like to do at Christmas time? So thanks for writing in, Peter. I mean, last weekend here in Des Moines was the Christ Kindle Market down at the Sac Taylor Stadium, Principal Park, where the iCubs play. I like to go down there for that and kind of walk around. I like to go and drive around, look at Christmas lights.
Yeah.
I mean, I start listening to Christmas music pretty much as soon as they put it on the radio. I'm a bit of a weirdo like that. But certainly on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, things I like to do. I like that night, Iowa Public Radio has a DJ who plays a thing called like Backtracks. His name's Bob Dorr. And he does like a bunch of weird kind of like niche Christmas songs, and it's kind of a fun thing.
Okay.
So I like to listen to that, and we drive around and we look at Christmas lights. Usually on Christmas Eve, we go over to Gingerbread Lane in Ankeny. And where there's like a thing where they're telling a story of like the first gingerbread man going on Santa for his first flight or something like that. And it's kind of a cute thing, and just kind of drive around until the kids fall asleep. The other things, last weekend we went to Santa's Rockin' Lights, which is kind of a light show thing.
How was that?
I wouldn't recommend it. My complaint is they play 30 seconds of a song and then start playing a different song. And I don't know. I think it's probably because they don't have the rights to play
The whole song.
Play the whole song. But it I don't know. It just gets really distracting when the greatest Christmas song of all time, Darlene Love's Christmas Baby Please Come Home, comes on the radio, and you hear the first verse, and then it jumps into I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas.
Oh boy. Well, how would you rate it compared to Jolly Holiday Lights?
I like Jolly Holiday Lights better, but that's just me. Jolly Holiday Lights is another local thing where the proceeds go to the Des Moines Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Yeah, usually.
So also goes to a better cause than stuffing somebody's pockets.
True. Definitely more Christmassy.
And then also, usually I watch Black Christmas 1974 on Christmas Eve, but also I'll watch that anytime during the year. So maybe it's not exactly a Christmas tradition. How about you, Jeff?
Well, every Christmas season, I've got to watch Christmas Vacation at least one time, just because it's hilarious. My parents started the tradition. We used to watch it when we would get done with our Thanksgiving meal, and then usually again like in the week before Christmas. And so it just reminds me of growing up and spending Christmas with my family. Other than that, really the only like main Christmas traditions I would say is we usually will get together on Christmas Eve and exchange like presents between us siblings. And then on Christmas Day, we usually try to get together with the family. We have our giant meal and then open presents. It's just pretty standard stuff. Like we'll watch, like we already watched The Grinch this year. Well, I watched both versions. My wife likes the Jim Carrey version better, I think.
No, your wife is a big Christmas movie fan, if memory serves.
Yes, she is. Well, she's a big Christmas fan in general.
I know you guys are gonna go see Elf here in theaters.
Yes, loves Elf. We're gonna see Elf. We're gonna actually see Christmas Vacation the 13th.
Oh, very cool.
Anybody who hasn't seen Violent Night yet, definitely worth going to see. And don't be afraid if you're kind of squeamish on the horror side. It's not really that heavy on the horror, but I mean, it does have some pretty brutal kills that are like horror themed in it. So
yeah, it looks a little more actiony than horror.
You definitely, I think it rides that kind of like thriller line where you definitely could find it scary if you're the right kind of person.
I think the term I think people use is like genre film.
Yeah.
It's certainly a genre film, and I've not seen it yet, but it looks fantastic. It looks like a lot of fun. Speaking of movies that are actually out today, the day we are recording, which is Friday the 9th, I believe Christmas Bloody Christmas is in theaters tonight.
Yes.
And is streaming on Shudder currently, and that looks like an absolute blast. If for whatever reason you don't want to see that, but you've got a bit of a curiosity about the idea, there is a British Netflix show called Creeped Out, and there is an episode called Splinter Claus, and the plot of that is reminiscent. It's very, very similar to my understanding of what Christmas Bloody Christmas is.
Okay.
Other than that, I know you mentioned Flick's Brewhouse. Flick's is doing a showing of Krampus. The Scott Adams.
Yeah, I think that's who it is.
Ben Wyatt from Parks and
I was gonna
Recreation.
say, the
Scott
guy-
Adams might be Dilbert.
The guy from Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
It's
Ben
definitely
Wyatt.
Scott something.
Ben Wyatt from Adam Scott. It's
Adam Scott. Okay.
It's the Adam Scott Krampus movie. That's going to be at Flicks, I think, on Monday for us. Might be in some other location. So Jeff and I might go check that out if we have time. Other than that, there's another Christmas horror movie dropping to Shudder. I just learned about it the other day, called The Apology. I believe it comes out next Friday. I think it has Janine Garofalo in it. So, and that looks very interesting. So I'm excited to check that one out too. Other than that, I know the comic that we've been promoting, Holiday Spirits, got funded on Kickstarter. I know there is a Silent Night, Deadly Night comic book coming out here shortly, so that'll be a fun little holiday read. And it's from the same people. And then one of these days, Jeff and I have to get out our Silent Night, Deadly Night board game, and maybe we'll try to find a way to stream us playing that on a platform. So something fun to do.
That would be fun, yeah.
And then, just be on the lookout, I think, for Krampus-themed haunted houses or something like that. Those are starting to pick up. I know we have one here in Des Moines at the Slaughterhouse on the 17th. I think Davenport or Cedar Rapids or Dubuque, one of those places more in a little more eastern Iowa, also does a Krampus haunted house. And I know I've seen some down in like Austin, Texas and stuff like that. And I went to the one here last year. I mentioned that on a previous episode. It's so much fun. Go check it out. I had a blast, and I'm excited to go again this year.
Well, that's good.
Anything else?
No, not really.
All right. Make sure if you want to get in touch with us, you can send us an email at horrorfortheholidays@gmail.com, the name of our podcast. If you want to get in touch with us on social media, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, we had another big TikTok post the other day at horror4 holidays.
If you want to check out our audio backups, or you just prefer to listen on YouTube, or I know a lot of people listen to podcast backups through YouTube Premium, so they can download them like when they take them to work or on the road. It's youtube.com/horrorfortheholidays.
Make sure to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, interact with us, help us boost those metrics.
Hit that wacky notification bell.
Same with whatever your podcatcher of choice is. Certainly Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars, write us a review. Every little bit helps get the word out, and just tell a friend if you think they'd be interested in the topics that they cover, or if you think we're silly enough to recommend to a friend. I can't imagine that's the case. Or, hey, get a load of these dumb fat guys. They're pretty stupid. Check
If
them
you think
out.
we're stupid, fat, terrible, write us and let us know.
Yeah, but give 5 stars. These guys are dumb fat pieces of shit. Like that's a great review. That's a 5-star review right there. I'd love that review.
I would love that review. That's how we'd know we'd really made it.
But beyond that, I don't think we have anything else. We'll see you in 2 weeks, and I think I just maybe revealed a little surprise of what our next episode may be.
Some sort of Christmas, a color?
Yeah, a movie I said that I like to watch every Christmas Eve. So we'll see you in 2 weeks to talk about that. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Goodbye.